Hello, this is Really Vince KW. Hi, I'm Shannon Ferris, and I'm here today with Heather Brassner and Nandy Brodzki. And we want to know a bit more about the motion filed yesterday. It was Friday around 5:30 p.m. and how this case is going to move further. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this motion that was filed by the Attorney General yesterday at 5:30, what does that mean for this particular case, and how do you move forward?
Well, it is their request to become a part of our case. They are not currently a party to the case. The case was like any other divorce case that's filed. Heather asked to be divorced from Megan Lade. So those are the two parties. The state wants in because the state wants to be able to argue to Judge Cohen why he should not declare the ban on recognizing same-sex marriages unconstitutional. And now the judge is going to rule on that motion to intervene. I don't expect he's going to want to let anyone argue anything. He will have it all in writing before him, and I fully expect him in somewhere around the next 30 days or so to issue exactly the same ruling he did on August 4th.
Heather, was this a surprise to you?
Yes, it was. I didn't know about that little law either. I was like, well, she's been informed. I mean, she's come out in the papers and made statements on it, so I totally expected to walk in and be divorced. But
I want to make sure all the viewers understand exactly what this case is about. So can you inform us a little bit about what it is, how long it's been going on to date, and how do you foresee this moving forward?
Okay. It started as a simple divorce, and this is a question of recognizing a divorce, recognizing a marriage, in this case a civil union from another state, just as the courts do every single day all over the state of Florida. People file for divorce, and opposite-sex couples file for divorce, and nobody asks where they were married. You usually tell the court, but it's unimportant. And the court says, you're married? Yes. And your marriage is irretrievably broken? Yes. You've lived here for 6 months? Yes. You're entitled to a divorce, except if you're a same-sex couple, because Article 1, Section 27 of the Florida Constitution, which we used to call Amendment 2, which is what it was called when it was passed by the voters in 2008, that ban prevents the court from treating same-sex couples the way they treat opposite-sex couples when it comes to divorce. And the judge needs to recognize it to dissolve it. Forgetting all the emotional reasons that people get divorced so that they become separate financial entities. What was once ours is now separately mine and yours. Mm-hmm. And that's the real big effect of a divorce. Is it's a date of division of everything, a date of finality. Couples often cause each other great financial harm during the relationship. Many people, I'm sure, have experienced that in one relationship or other. And divorce is the way that you stop another person from harming you emotionally, physically, financially.
And in this case,
that's what Heather wants.
In this case, she's also, no one can find her. We hired a private eye to search for her in order to try to get it done, with her and I just coming up with a contractual agreement on how to divide property and maybe pursue it in Vermont, which would have been easier. But with her unfindable, I have no other recourse than to do what I'm doing. She left me for, he was a gentleman, not a female. But after they left the home, that was it. They moved, they left, and I have no idea where she is.
And if I understand the law correctly, then she could go on, rack up debt, and you would be financially, or could be financially, reliable.
That's one of my fears. She's in a state.
That's understanding
It's a legitimate legal concern
Okay.
of her incurring debt, and another state who recognizes their civil union as valid. If she went to New York, let's say she had become a resident of the state of New York and was entitled to file for divorce in New York, but it's now 2 years from now and somehow this is all still dragging on, she can claim that they've been married from 2002 all up until the time she files in New York, instead of what really happened, which is the relationship ended 4 years ago. So the sooner she can get divorced, the less time this woman has to cause her financial harm.
So it sounds like to me you have a message for the Florida residents that may be seeing this particular case as, I'll just put it out there more crassly, of a gay issue. It sounds like you have a real message that this isn't about a gay issue.
For me, I am for everyone's equality. You know, every human being on this planet, as far as I'm concerned, has a right to human dignity. I personally think it's horrible, the poverty rates throughout the world, everything, and there's so much that we can be doing to help each other as human beings. That's what we're put here for. Simply a person, a human being trying to rectify something that was done to me and get it cleared so that I am free to move on with my life.
Which would be the same right of any typical Florida resident.
Absolutely. I hope people get divorced every day. This has nothing to do with being gay. It has to do with, in Florida, we're all granted equal rights and equal protection of the law. This case is, although related to the other cases that pen throughout Florida, but for example, the Miami-Dade case and the Monroe case are asking for the right to be issued marriage licenses. Now, I'll be first in line. I can't wait for that to happen, and it is going to happen. It is going to happen. But at the same time, we have people every day who are entitled to get divorced under the same circumstances that Heather wants to get divorced, and the only reason that she's not being given that same civil right is because her partner was also a woman. It's not a religious matter. It's not a racial matter. It's not a sexual orientation matter. It's a legal process in civil court to dissolve a union that the state has sanctioned, and that state turns around and gives you rights and responsibilities. With that piece of paper you get called a marriage license, and she doesn't want that responsibility anymore.
And moving this forward, because help us understand that while this is starting in Broward County, what happens next as we proceed with this?
Okay, well, in the Broward case, I will tell you that thank you to the Attorney General for wasting no time in filing your motion to intervene. I suspect that Judge Cohen is going to rule on that motion and allow them to intervene in probably no more than a week's time. He will schedule that hearing, and he will simply read that ruling, hardly changing a word. I don't expect anything about his ruling to change. He made that very clear.
And if this ruling is made, what does that say for all of the state of Florida?
It says, wait just a little bit more because we're not there yet. This is one judge in the 17th Judicial Circuit, which is what Broward County is. Mm-hmm. I strongly suspect, based on what the Attorney General has done in every other case, that when the judge grants Heather a final judgment of divorce, they are going to appeal that final judgment. They have 30 days from the final judgment to file that appeal. They will file it with the 4th District Court of Appeal, which is not the same District Court of Appeal that the Monroe and Dade County cases, which
was
are
the
now
3rd
combined.
district.
It's the 3rd District. There is also a case pending, actually 2 cases pending now, in the 2nd District Court of Appeal. One of them is also a marriage recognition case. It In fact, I think both of them are marriage recognition cases like Heather's. They're divorce cases. They're same-sex couples who want to get divorced. Somebody, right now it might be the 3rd District. The 3rd District is currently considering a request by the plaintiffs in the Miami-Dade and Monroe case to take the appeal and ask the Florida Supreme Court to take it immediately and directly. My personal opinion, if I were a betting woman, I would be betting my money that the 3rd District is going to ask the Supreme Court of Florida to take it, and that the Florida Supreme Court will take it.
Mm-hmm.
Our case, in the meantime, will have gone to the 4th District Court of Appeal. We will be asking the 4th District Court of Appeal to do exactly the same thing. Please send this directly to the Florida Supreme Court. So you are potentially going to have at least 3 cases being asked to go right through to the Florida Supreme Court. And whether they take all of them or some of them is something we're just going to have to wait.
So as we move forward, we watch this case as it progresses.
Yes.
Is there something that both of you would like us all to keep in mind as we watch this case go up?
For me, I felt obligated. I felt a responsibility to bring this case because I'm for everyone's equality. Every human being on the planet deserves dignity, respect, and equality. And that's one of the reasons why I also brought forth this case. I felt that it necessary. I felt that I needed to help my other human brothers and sisters, win what we all deserve, and that is respect and equality.
I want people to remember that the struggle for civil rights for African Americans in the 40s and 50s and 60s was a very difficult struggle. And there were a lot of setbacks along the way before they got full equality. It saddens me when people choose to believe that these are not the same rights, that we're all entitled to exactly the same rights and the exact same treatment under the law. And it wasn't right when Virginia wouldn't let Black people and white people get married. And the Supreme Court said so. And it's not right now for any state to tell any consenting adults, regardless of their gender, regardless of who they love, that they don't have that fundamental right to marry. Because we all have these rights. We were endowed with these rights. The Declaration of Independence of our country says that, to paraphrase, since it was a little sexist and it also includes religion, we were all endowed with certain unalienable rights, among those of which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And everybody understands that the right to marry is part of the right to pursue happiness. As a divorce lawyer, I assure you, it does not guarantee happiness. And nobody's guaranteed happiness. They're only guaranteed the right to have that chance at happiness. And everybody deserves that right. We were given it as citizens of this country. And I'm not going to allow them anymore to be taken away without a fight. There's nothing I could be more passionate about. And I do family law because I love it, and it's challenging. But this is an issue to say that I am passionate about would be a very big understatement. And I will use every tool at my disposal to turn this around.